I mean, I think everybody should question their own beliefs on everything, when not just religion, but just anything that we're indoctrinated to believe, whether it be vaccines, and we're just taught from just blindly trust
Ross
them. And
Ulbricht religion.
yeah,
Do you
like,
know that one? The Bitcoin bros. They're like, all he did was make a website. That is not true at all. Like, that guy tried to do contract killings, and all they did was sell narcotics on that site. That's all Silk Road was just like selling illegal drugs. And the guy got popped, and Dread Pirate Roberts was him. All you'd have to do to exonerate him is find one time where whoever supposedly it was logged in or sent a message while Ross had an alibi, and they couldn't do that because he was him. And he's on other forums when he was advertising Silk Road as the PR and stuff. That's how they caught him in the first place. Is he sent advertisement? He had another advertisement for a web developer to his own email address. So they got him so easily. But
if they're going to
yeah,
get
the
him,
people,
I mean, I
the
think they
problem with
should
that
get
case
him
though,
but they should get him for trying to hire people to, for contract killing, not for building a website.
well, no, they got him for about $1.2 billion in narcotic trafficking, which is enough. And the problem with the contract killings is they didn't have the other side of it till 2018. And they caught him in 2015, but they had so much on him already for, 2 life sentences plus 40 years. So what was the point? What murkies the water is people like Carl Ford and Sean Bridges, who were investigating the case, stole Bitcoin themselves, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when your investigators are also criminals, it makes you look innocent.
Right.
But this thing is, this isn't a G.I. Joe cartoon of good and bad. It's just bad and also bad. There was no good guys involved in this. They did punish him because the federal government just doesn't like Bitcoin. They don't like crypto. They wanted to like really hammer him. That is their motive. But that doesn't mean he didn't commit crimes. He
Sure. I mean,
absolutely facilitated an anonymous way to sell whatever you wanted.
right.
Weapons, drugs, people, it didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm neutral on Ross as a person. I don't know anything about the guy. I just don't think a person should be going to jail for, if they can weaponize something and say, well, we're going to put you in jail because of this one thing, then they can. I mean, why not stick the, CEO of Verizon in jail then at that point? You've got phones being
I think you
used.
should. No.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah, it's not because he's not in jail just because he created a website where other people sell drugs. He actively sought out vendors to sell drugs and profit himself. So he was part of moving LSD around Canada with Hell's Angels and stuff. Like, he did do that, and that's why he's in jail. Well, he's not in jail. He got pardoned.
Yeah, he got pardoned.
But yeah, maybe 11 years was enough for what he did. He didn't actually kill anybody, but he thought he was. He was hiring people to kill people, but he was getting conned.
But he didn't get charged with that.
And he did send them money. Well, he didn't get convicted of that because Red and White. So he had this guy named Friendly Chemist who was trying to blackmail Ross, say, look, I'm going to release a list of your buyers or else. And then, but this is a con artist doing it. Then this guy named Red and White, who's also Friendly Chemist, but Ross doesn't know that. He thinks they're two different people. Goes, hey, we're the guys Friendly Chemist owes money to. And so he says, you owe him money. So you just pay us and we'll cut him out. And Ross is like, I don't care what you do to Friendly Chemist, but it sounds like you got a lot of drugs to move. Why don't you make an account and we'll give you a percentage? And then it just starts working with them directly to move around LSD, which they did. And eventually Chemist keeps trying to extort Ross. Ross goes back to Red and White, says, you need to get rid of this guy. How much? And pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they fake killed the guy. Like, well, he's gone. Send him pictures of a guy in a chair, whatever. Ross thinks he's killed someone. And then he'd keep doing this gambit. Anybody that got in his way, he'd hire people to murder them. So fuck that guy.
I mean, can't they get him now for that? Because they didn't have that.
They can.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they caught Red and White in 2018. So I don't know if the pardon would include that. I don't think it would.
Yeah.
So yeah, they could still jail him.
Yeah,
and I guarantee he stashed money places. He's probably a multi-billionaire. If he had any Bitcoin anywhere from back then to now, yeah, he could probably just to go away.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to get charged this administration. So, I mean, it would be maybe in a future administration that they go back and they say, we're going to look at this.
Trump wants that new wave libertarian party, which is really just an anarchist party. There is a difference between libertarians like Jeffersonian, Ron Paul libertarians and the anarcho-capitalists that took over with the Kokesh, Dave Smith types. They're just like, anarchy, bro. Anybody can do anything. That's not libertarian. Libertarian wants to get government favoritism out of the marketplace. You don't pick winners and losers. You don't use the government as an instrument to interfere with economics. It does not mean
Just
like
get rid of the
just not
government.
have courts
Right.
and not
Yeah.
have borders and not have a government. Like, oh, you use the post office, you statist. I'm okay with it. Even Jefferson had a post office. You know, Ron Paul was in the federal government as a congressman. Like, he never said get rid of courts.
Right.
It's just the government is supposed to be a referee, not the coach. And we're often like with YouTube, it's the coach.
Yeah.
Because YouTube has its trust and safeties, and they decide whether you're guilty of hate speech or whatever they accuse you of because they want to get rid of you for political reasons.
Right.
But it ought to go to a third party to arbitrate disputes like a court, like we could have with any other business, and they would decide whether you broke the terms of service. But with social media, they are the judge, jury, and executioner.
Mm-hmm.
That's what needs to be separated. None of this crap is Section 230. Trust and safety boards. You cannot have Meta investigate itself. You cannot have Google investigate itself. The dispute between the person being canceled and the company should be arbitrated by a third party like a court.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Not a trust and safety board, who you're not even allowed to know who's on
Right.
the trust and safety board. And because it's usually the CIA. As we found out from the Twitter files. You know?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. All right, Ryan, I'm going to let you go. I know it's early in the morning where you are, and I don't want to keep you from your day or your kids that are clearly having fun in the background.
Yeah, it snowed a bunch of, so they're like excited. We're going sledding.
Oh, that's fun. Well, you do that. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your insight into, all of your knowledge into a lot of these topics. I think that, a lot of this stuff, especially with like 9/11 and Epstein, a lot of us know a lot of this, a lot because of a lot of the work that you've done and other stuff that's come out, and so it's good to just kind of get the refresher on just how sinister and how connected and how there's so much overwhelming evidence. This isn't just like a conspiracy theory that we just came up with and started saying, oh, it was just all Israel, right? Like just because we just hate Jews, we're all anti-Semites or something. There's so much evidence.
Israel has nothing to do with Jews. Israel's a country. Like, if I criticize North Korea, it doesn't mean I hate Koreans. I live in South Korea. They're just as Korean as the North. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if somebody's Jewish or not. Israel's a country that uses Judaism as an excuse to get away with things. That's all they do. And most of what I'm saying about 9/11, our own FBI admits it. Like, in their own JIS report from the Senate investigation, joint inquiry into September 11th, they say that Bandar Bush, and through his wife, Fasil, facilitated the flow of money to Nawid Dalket, who's the wife of Omar Bayoumi, a Saudi asset that bought a house for and stayed with 9/11 hijackers, along with another intermediary named Osama Basnan. They were living there in California with 9/11 hijackers. The same 9/11 hijackers the CIA had been following around and knew damn well where they were and what they were doing.
Yeah.
This is a let it happen is your best case scenario for the government. It's really state assisted, but the Saudis, as I said, the CIA had to move operations outside of the U.S. as a method of getting money after the Vietnam War ended and because of Watergate. That was the big thing. And it's still festering out there. And the Saudis did it. And you had George Tenet drunk in the pool saying the damn Jays double-crossed us, meaning the neocons. And like, I don't know, like people are waiting for someone to come on TV and tell them what happened on 9/11 or who's on Jeffrey's list. That's never going to happen. It's the same thing with these JFK files. Is 99% of JFK files were already released.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's coming out, if it comes out, I'm not going to really get that excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be all redacted.
I mean, it could be where the big juice is. It's going to be redacted. They're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
You can already figure out what happened to the Kennedys and Martin Luther King without waiting for the government to hand it to you. We have that information already.
Yeah. And if they're not going to give
Caesar shot RFK.
If they don't give us the documents unredacted, it's like, what's the point of even giving us the documents?
Yeah, it's going to look like this, It's just like, there you go.
Right. Yeah. Here's all the pages. Terrible.
But it's mapped out, like, look, you don't You don't have to wait for the government. It's mapped out. This is my shameless plug for coffee, but we
Ru-
know what happened, and a lot of these things are like that. And the same thing with Syria. Like, we know they finance ISIS. It's in our own DIA
right.
documents. Da, 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 da. We're going to talk about that too. Like,
Yeah.
it never stopped. They still finance Al Qaeda today.
You're banned everywhere, so tell us where we can find you and your work.
I I do have a Twitter post Elon, who's not perfect, but way better than the last regime.
Right,
So that's
true.
under Rye Liberty, RY Liberty. And I have a Substack, ryandawson.org.
Okay.
Substack, are you on Substack?
I'm not on
You
Substack.
should. Oh, I'm going to recommend you then.
Okay.
Substack's where it's at. They have
Really?
not censored, like, all the black sheep are on Substack and some. And Cy Hirsch is over there. Tucker has a channel over there. It's good.
Oh, interesting.
So I
Yeah.
have Twitter and Substack, and yeah, antineocon.com if you want to get some Boycott Israel coffee or a sweater like this, what have you. Got a shop going there, but you can follow me on Twitter. I am edgy, so you can secretly follow me on Twitter without following me or just whatever.
Well, now
But
that they've hidden all of
Substack's
the
safe.
likes, right? We can't see each other's
That's
likes, so
true.
it's okay. People can like and
Plus, I follow people I can't stand
yeah, I do too.
because
Yeah.
I want to know, like, I
What they're
want to
gonna
argue
say,
or whatever. So, yeah,
right?
exactly.
Doesn't mean I agree with
Yep,
them. I don't agree with Keith Olbermann, but I
exactly.
definitely follow him because I know that guy's a loon and he says all kinds of stuff. He's unhinged, right? So it's just interesting to
You know, what's sad is he was against the Iraq War and after it happened, in 2003.
Yeah.
But boy, did he go off the deep end.
Yeah, he did. He
That
did. A
guy.
lot of people did. A lot of people did. The Trump derangement syndrome got a lot of people. And just
Oh, I'm like, I understand criticizing some of this. I know all the stupid stuff he did, trust me, but I am so glad Biden and Harris are gone.
yeah.
So glad. I don't think we would have survived another 4 years of that. It was pregnant men. That's how bad it was. That was an assault on reality.
Totally. All right, Ryan. Well, I have the links down below where people can follow you. Would love to have you back on the show and talk about other stuff sometime. Because again, I'm not afraid, with all of these
We should
topics.
talk about Syria, and we should probably talk about Robert Miller, since I was like, why don't
Yeah,
we
at
talk
some
about
point.
that's a
I'll
good
have
one
to look
too.
into that one. I
Absolutely.
mean, you mentioned him to me before this conversation, and I tried looking him up, but I couldn't find anything. So I think I'll have to
Isn't
go
that
to you.
something?
Yeah, right. I mean,
That I know. That's the point. I'm like, this should be this is a massive story. Hundreds of girls' lives are just ruined in Canada. Yeah, and they're just, it makes you wonder who he has compromised and why it isn't a big story
right.
in the Canadian media.
Yeah. Well, it always comes down to that. Ryan, thank you so much. Have fun
Mm-hmm.
sledding with your
Thank you.
kids. And thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. You've just watched a clip from the full Kim Iverson show. To check out the entire show, visit KimIversonShow.com Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. The show is completely free. It live streams every day. Just go to KimIversonShow.com. See you there.